you find...
And Will saw his chance to put the horseshoe up somewhere without being seen. So he crept round the corner and in through the door, very quietly. There was a plate of snail jam sandwiches on the table and a note telling him to have a snack until supper. The next second he was stuffing himself with sandwiches as though he hadn't eaten for days. When he'd swallowed 3 sandwiches and was halfway through a 4th, he suddenly remembered that he'd forgotten everything about the horseshoe. So he squashed the sandwich into his mouth, fetched the horseshoe and started to think where to put it. He looked around the room. The kitchen would be best, where everyone could see it every day and have good luck. His first idea was to nail the horseshoe above the mantelpiece, but it was crammed with things. Then Will thought it would be a good idea to nail the horseshoe to the wall above the mirror. So he fetched a hammer and some nails and dragged a chair from the table over to the wall in order to stand on it. But as he hit the nail, the hammer bounced out of his grasp and landed on his foot. Oh, ouch! Oh, Quack! My foot! Oh, ow! Oh! In a minute or so, he got back up onto the chair and gave the nail a real thump with a hammer. But he lost his balance. Come snails! Help! Quack! Oh! He cried and flapped his wings, but it was no use. The chair slipped from under him, and the next second the horseshoe clonked him on the head. Oh, ouch! Oh, my poor head! Quack! Oh! He was in a really bad mood, but then he remembered. 3 tries for a Welshman. Quack! So he got back up onto the chair a 3rd time and began to tap the nail, carefully. This time, the nail sank slowly into the wall. One more tap and it would be firmly in its place. But when Will gave the nail that final tap, wow! A huge piece of plaster, the nail and the horseshoe all came down on Will's beak. Ow! Oh! Ouch! Oh, oh, my poor beak! Ow! Quack! Oh. When Will saw the mess, he became even more angry. Quack! Blow that old horseshoe! And he picked it up and hurled it out into the farmyard, shouting, Go away, you unlucky nuisance! Quack! But then he froze where he stood as he heard a cry of pain in the farmyard and his father shouting, Rasmus, David, my poor head! Ow! At the same time, he heard his mother saying, Well, goodness me, Humphrey, there's the money we were looking for. Well, of course, Will had a row from his mother for hitting his father with a horseshoe. But as he'd helped find the money, she forgave him. And she gave him a large piece of spider cake with snail cream over it. Before he fell asleep, Will thought to himself that the horseshoe was a lucky one after all. Good night. Quack.